Hi Gemini and Gemini Rising, this is your October 2016 forecast. So September was a bit of a rocky month. There were two eclipses and, the Saturn-Neptune square had its final aspect, so a lot of doom and gloom, and the eclipse in Virgo in your fourth house, would have affected you in terms of family, in terms of home. So perhaps this all resulted in a kind of change of scene for you or a new direction. But October is said to be a much more stable and harmonious and sociable month. So your ruling planet Mercury, which was retrograde most of September, is now direct. And it will be moving into your fifth house of romance and pleasure and fun and children. So, speeding up activity in those areas. Jupiter also in the fifth house, in Libra. But, with the unstable energies around September, Jupiter wasn't properly established, but we'll get kind of an auguration or housewarming with a new moon in Libra on the 1st of October. So things looking a lot more optimistic, and there's a lot more social opportunities for you again. Jupiter is in Libra, which is an air sign, and Gemini is an air sign. So, this is very compatible. So lots of social opportunities, lots of opportunities for conversation, learning, and, expanding your mind. And in the fifth house, a lot of opportunities for fun. So let's look at what's happening this month. Okay, so the new moon on the 1st of October, that's going to have the Sun, Moon, and Jupiter in your fifth house. So this is a very powerful and potent combination, very lucky and optimistic. And it's in the house of romance, fun, pleasure, children. So if there's and creativity. So if there's a creative project that you want to launch, this is a good time to get that off the ground. And there's sextiles between the Sun and the Moon and Saturn, which is very good for goal setting and getting things done. So, if there's something that you need to get off the ground, use the optimism and confidence that you're feeling and passion and inspiration to really move things along and work those social connections to, get things further faster. So, like I said, a lot of energy around romance and fun. So if you're single, this is a good time to, go out into the dating scene, especially when Mercury goes into the fifth house on the 7th. This is going to show a lot more activity and communication and speed up interactions with other people, and also just show more fifth house things happening. Like I said, more opportunities to have a good time, more opportunities to have fun, so lots of pleasant conversations, lots of interactions. If it's sports that you enjoy, then you could have a lot more activities like that going on. And if you're engaging with children, you'll find communication is a lot more intense. And this is true with romantic partners as well. So intense and, energized and stimulating conversations going on. And Venus is in your sixth house, and, for the first half of the month until the 18th. So Venus in the sixth house, good for cooperation with co-workers, good for creative work, so singing, acting, dancing. It's also good for, kind of possibly, attracting money in the workplace a bit more, but it's certainly favorable reviews. So, Venus here shows, good cooperation, good teamwork, getting along. And so, you're still applying yourself to the job at hand. Okay, and what you want to take into account is Mars is going to be in your 8th house in Capricorn. So the 8th house has to do with joint resources, it's financial investments, it's money coming in from other people. So, this can show a lot of potential around investments, so new investments, business negotiations, restructuring around finances, what your commitments are, and, so a lot of energy around negotiating in business with Mars and Capricorn. So you just have to watch that things don't get a little bit too heated. The 8th is also the house of intimacy, so Mars in the 8th can show, especially with that 5th house emphasis, a lot of passion, a lot of bonding, a lot of connection, and at times perhaps a bit of a power play. So these are just things to be aware of this month. And also the full moon is going to be in your 11th house. So the polarity really is between the 5th and the 11th house. These are your social houses. And the 11th house has got to do with friends, networks, and, our hopes and dreams and aspirations and groups that we're associated with. And the full moon is said to be quite a volatile one with, close interactions with Uranus, so moon conjunct Uranus and sun opposing Uranus. So there could be breakups of friendships, or, you know, things coming to a head or coming to a conclusion around friendship groups. So, but it could just be, you know, surprising things or encounters, you know. So you might want to just watch that things don't get a little bit too heated at this time, especially with friends and lovers. Okay, so let's go through the month day by day. On the 1st, Venus is trining Neptune, and this is in your work houses. So this is very good for creative projects and creative expression. And so you'll be feeling inspired, and, you know, you'll have a lot of ideas, and you'll be relating them very well to other people. So it's very good for that little bit of inspiration around work projects for you. So, you know, use that energy to, you know, make things seem a little bit more stimulating for you in the workplace. On the 4th of October, the Sun will sextile Saturn. And like I said, this is very good for goal setting, for getting things done. You know, this could involve partners, like business partners or a long-term partner, or people that you consult with. So really kind of, you know, breaking things down step by step, you know, how you want to accomplish things and goal setting. A very constructive energy for getting things done. So on the 7th of October, the Sun is squaring Pluto. This is that power play energy that I spoke about. You know, this can show power struggles with other people. It can also be with children. You know, so perhaps some issues come to light and, you know, a bit of tensions get unearthed. So try and deal with this energy productively. On the 11th, Mercury will be conjuncting Jupiter in your 5th house, and Mercury and Jupiter are doing very well together. And in the 5th house, you know, it could be creative projects that you want to launch. So if you've got a personal business that you want to get off the ground, this is a very good energy for that. But it's also good for all 5th house affairs. So, you know, good for, you know, romantic connections or areas where you have fun. You know, you'll be feeling very optimistic, and, you know, you'll have a good view of matters. So you'll be able to, you know, like really engage and connect, you know, with lovers and with children very well at this time. And like I said, also very good for launching a creative project. And Mars will also be sextiling Neptune at this time. So, you know, you're not going to be as forceful. You'll be able to be a bit more reflective and consider everything carefully before you go ahead. So very broad-minded and very grounded energy, you know, to, like I said, communicate or to launch a creative project. So on the 13th and the 14th, Mercury is squaring Mars, and this is a bit more of a volatile energy. You know, with Mars in the 8th house, this can show haggling or arguments around finances or arguments around investments. You know, you're feeling a bit hot under the collar, so, you know, you might be a little bit more rash than usual. So you might want to this might not be a good day for, you know, taking new financial risks or restructuring things completely. So the full moon, like I said, is a bit of, you know, is going to be a bit surprising. You know, with Uranus involved so closely with the luminaries, one can expect surprises. And for you, those are going to come through romantic partners or through children or through friends and groups that you associate with. So, you know, some surprising encounters. You know, it could be unexpected arguments with friends or with a romantic partner. You know, things coming to an end, or, you know, perhaps, you know, the opposite is also certainly possible. With Uranus, you never really know. So it could be the start of a new romance, or the end of a romance, or the start of a friendship, or the end of a friendship. So, or you may just, you know, withdraw from a group that you're involved with. But like, this is very much dependent on your personal chart. So depending on how strong it is with personal planets there, it might not necessarily come to pass, but you'll certainly notice some of this activity around you. So on the 23rd of October, the Sun is going to move into Scorpio and into your 6th house. So that takes the spotlight from the 5th house of romance, children, and recreation and speculative risks to the house of work and, you know, health. So 6th house Sun, you know, that energy is very good for starting new diet and exercise regimes. It's also good for, you know, focus on duties and obligations and where we're of service, perhaps doing volunteer work. So with Mercury moving into that house as well, it's going to be very efficient in terms of getting things done. So see how you can use that energy constructively, but more on that next month. So the month concludes with a new moon in Scorpio on the 31st of October. And that's going to be in that 6th house, highlighting those 6th house issues. But there's good aspects to Neptune, so you'll be feeling creative and inspired around whatever it is that you want to accomplish in the workplace or around diet and organizing your life, generally speaking. So all in all, a lot of fun to be had in October, especially in the first half for you. A lot of opportunities for romantic connection. And, there may be some surprise encounters with friends, but these things could go either way. It could be the start of something new. Like I said, with Uranus energies, you'd never really know. But a very optimistic new moon at the start of the month. And, like a lot of good aspects for financial investments with Mars and Capricorn, getting those kinds of business affairs and money affairs in order, and restructuring things with partnerships around money and intimacy especially. So enjoy the month of October. Like I said, you're very blessed to have that new moon in your 5th house of fun and recreation, romance and sports. So enjoy it. If you've liked this forecast, please like and subscribe. And if you'd like to book a personal reading for more insight into your own chart, you can go to my website at www.psyche.co.za to book a consultation. Thank you for listening.